Greetings, Comp 2 friends. I just wanted to kind of take a page out of our President Chris Whaley's book and give you a video update for those of you who learn better by at least sort of simulating an interaction with a real live person and an actual human voice. So I have missed you. I hope that everybody is doing well, and I just kind of want to give you some updates about today and about what's going to happen over the next week in Comp 2. So, as I already mentioned on the Discord, I have posted all 6 of the quizzes. It ended up only being 6 out of the 10 plays that were chosen by the class. So for today, you were supposed to have A, read your play that you chose, B, watched your play that you chose, and as I mentioned on Discord, I already had picked out the video productions for you. So the video productions and the actual plays, the links to all those were in the same Edmodo post. And C, you were supposed to today take the quiz on your play. Now, I'm seeing some people going through and taking every quiz. That's a little confusing to me. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. You were only required to read one of those 10 plays, and so you are only taking one quiz. You're just going to keep scrolling until you find the quiz that matches the title of the play that you read. And I mentioned this on Discord as well, but keep in mind that this applies to all of my quizzes. So I try for quizzes not to be super punitive. I just want to see if you did the reading. So in general, I won't have quiz questions that are like, in chapter 3, tell me the color of the hat that he was wearing, or, just to be mean for the heck of it. But some questions I will have on there will be harder because it's a 3-question quiz, but only 2 questions out of the 3 have to be answered correctly for you to get full credit for the day. So there's always a floating bonus question. So if you get 3 out of 3, that means you earn bonus points for the day. But all you have to do is get 2 out of 3. So don't get upset if you get a 2 out of 3 and think, oh, that's a 66%. That's not how it works at all. In this class, you get 2 points every time that you turn in a small assignment or every time that you do a quiz. So, and that's going to count the same for double entry notes later on down the line. So if you get 3 out of 3, that's just gravy. That's just bonus points. But all you have to do is get 2 out of 3. If you get 1 out of 3, you get half credit. 0 is obviously 0. But that's how the quizzing works. So if that helps to kind of not panic. So that quiz needs to be taken by today at 11:59 p.m. We talked about, we took a vote in class, and so that's when everything will be due for this class. Will be at 11:59 p.m. on Tuesdays. The answers are not published because I don't want to enable temptations of various cheating possibilities. Not that any of you would do that, because you're all delightful people. But you can always ask me what the answers were the next day. I will not tell you today because, again, not everybody has finished the quiz. And the quiz closes at 11:59, period. So you have a 5-minute time limit. The reason it's 5 minutes is that I want it to be enough time for you to answer the questions from your own memory and not enough time for you to just be like getting Senior Google to help you out. Again, not that any of you would do that because you're all paragons of virtue. But for other classes, I have to keep these things in mind. So even if you start, at 11:57, though normally you would have a 5-minute time limit, that quiz will close at 11:59 no matter what. So just be careful about waiting until the very last minute because it will close on you at 11:59. That's when the bell tolls. So those need to be taken today. And then your job for the next week is to write your paper. You've done the reading, you've done the watching. This week is for the research and the writing. Usually in this class every week there will be some kind of a task or a prompt on the Discord, something that you need to answer. And so look, this week you were supposed to pick your topic. That was the other thing you were supposed to do. That was part D that I forgot to mention before. So the other thing that's due today is that you need to post in the Discord your topic, and I need to approve that, and you get points for doing that. If you talk to me individually, that's fine as well. Some of you are in a situation where you're the only person doing the play that you're doing, and if you just told me one-on-one, that's fine. So that's due today as well. But like the week before that, you had to tell me which play you were doing. Sometimes I'll ask you discussion questions. This week, you have nothing that's due on the Discord. So between now and I think the 22nd is next Tuesday, you don't have to do anything on the Discord at all unless you just want to come on there to talk or to ask me questions. And I will still be using it to communicate with you. But you don't have any mandatory discussions. You don't have any mandatory things you have to go post in there, because I just want you to be able to focus on your paper. I know that is a big chunk of your grade. It's 30% of your grade of the 100 points. So I just want you to be able to put all your energy into that project. Those of you who have dropped in and already given me your topics are doing a fantastic job. Some of the ones that you came up with on your own were really impressive. I genuinely look forward to reading them. And this, again, I told my Comp 1 class this as well. This is not the semester that any of you ordered when you came to the Roan State Cafe. And you're doing a really nice job of handling probably less than ideal educational circumstances. So I don't want you to feel like you're just floating out in the void. Any questions you have this week, feel free to ask me during my office hours. And also, this is the time to really lean on Heather Doncaster or any of the librarians. This is what a huge chunk of what they are there for. And just because we are virtual doesn't mean that they're not still there. They're still there to help you. So you can contact Heather Doncaster, you can contact Laura Vaughn, you can contact any of them, and just go to roanstate.edu and just go to the search bar and type in library, and it'll take you right to their page. And they even have a live chat feature. So if you have questions about how to research, like if you have a topic that you're trying to search it in the library search engine and nothing is really coming up, they can give you the right keywords to find the type of information that you need. And then if you have questions about writing, please come to me. Since I'm going to be looking at the paper, handing it back to you, and then you're going to have another chance to turn it in at the end, I'm not going to necessarily do like a full read through. Those of you who had me for Comp 1 might be familiar with the way I used to do it, which was when we were in person, we would have a first draft, which we had our peer groups look at stuff, and then the second draft, which went to me, and then the final draft. Since we're not in person, we can't do the peer groups anymore. So I've had a couple of you ask me like, hey, can you look at my paper before I turn it in? Unfortunately, if I did that for everybody, I would be essentially pre-grading a bunch of papers before I then graded them and then grade them again at the end of the semester. But if you have individual questions about, hey, can you look at this paragraph? Can you look at this citation? I'm happy to do that. I'm just not going to be able to sit and like proofread your whole paper for you before I go ahead and grade it. But again, you don't have to panic about it, because you do get a redo on this one. The creative project at the end of the term, you don't. That one you turn in, it just is what it is. But with this, you can revise, and I'll tell you everything that you need to fix. And hypothetically, if you make like a 15 out of 30, God forbid, if you fix everything, then you would make a 30 out of 30 that second time around. There's no cap on how well you can do in your revision. So that's the job for this week. When you turn in the paper, and remember, this is one of the only things we're going to use Momentum for. When you go into Momentum, and you go to Assessments and then go to the Dropbox, there should be a Dropbox category for the Shakespeare Project. That's where you're going to upload your paper, and it has to be uploaded as a Word document. Has to be a Word document. So Mac users like myself, find a way to do that. You can download Word free. If the formatting messes up when you upload it on Turnitin and you want me to be able to grade the one with the right formatting, just email me the right one separately and say grade this one instead, or give me a heads up somehow. So that's where it'll be submitted. That is due the 22nd at 11:59 p.m. And I have already posted information from the library about how to research for this paper. This is not just a general research paper like you did in Comp 1. This has a very specific set of sources that you're going to be looking at. And what you're going to be searching is what's called literary criticism, which we briefly went over in class, where people whose job it is to talk about literature have gone in and made certain arguments or written certain articles in various published journals about these plays. None of you, based on the things that you have suggested to me, none of you should have a particularly hard time finding sources. I think all your topics are really workable. But Heather Doncaster made the video just for you, and she made a handout PDF just for you, literally just for your class, that takes you step by step how to find those sources. And so if you're somebody that prefers to read and just go at your own pace and not watch a video, you can download the PDF. If you're somebody who prefers to be spoken to by a person, you can watch the video. And she just, again, sort of handholds you through how to do that. So the type of resources, and again, this is on the handout that I gave you, but what we're not looking at is cheating websites like eNotes, SparkNotes, LitCharts, CliffsNotes, Wikipedia. Even though we love Wikipedia as an entity, we just can't use Wikipedia for research papers. So those types of websites that don't just go to Google and search this stuff, because it's probably going to lead you down paths that are not academically rigorous. The best thing to do is just do exactly what Heather tells you to do. Go into the library, and she gives you 3 databases that you can start searching. And the great thing about that, and I know I've said this 50 times, but it does the works cited entry for you. So when you use those, there'll be a little button on the top that says like citation or cite, and just make sure you select MLA, and it will give you the citation, period. The only thing it does sometimes is sometimes it will mess up the capitalization of the titles, and so you may just have to go back and double check that. But otherwise, like, why put extra work on you when the library does that work for you? So what I'm going to be looking for, again, MLA research paper. So if you're in this class, it means that you either took Comp 1, some of you took it with me, or you took it with another teacher at Rome State, or you took it at some other institution, be it another school or your high school before you got here, or you tested out of Comp 1, thus demonstrating that you already have this knowledge. So you should already know how to do this, but if you don't feel ashamed. Don't ever feel ashamed, because I'm the queen of forgetting things, as you've already figured out. Come and ask me questions if you need. But what I'm looking for is in-text citations within the paragraphs of the paper. Every time you mention something that somebody else said, there'll be a little parenthetical citation at the end of that sentence that points to a works cited entry at the end of the paper. So I'm looking for the works cited page, and I'm looking for the in-text citations in the paper. Where people often mess up, and this happens to me every year multiple times, where people mess up with these papers, is they'll have a works cited page, but they just won't have done any in-text citations. And so what I'm trying to get across to you is that when it comes to MLA research papers, the works cited page is only half of the picture. That's only half of the requirement. The other half is the in-text citations. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're like, what does she even mean? In-text citation, parenthetical, I've forgotten all that, or I was never told that, please reach out to me and I will get you some videos that can explain to you what is required. Another thing I would really recommend, if you can get the paper done a little early, a great thing to do is to submit it to the Learning Center before you submit it to me. And the Learning Center online, you can access through Momentum. If you give them 48 hours, they can get back to you with feedback. So like, if you could get it done by like Thursday or Friday, like a first draft, then they could get back to you by Monday, and you could change anything that needed to be changed before you turned it into me on Tuesday. Or even if you could, I mean, it would probably still even be worth a shot Monday morning. They might get back to you that night. So I would definitely recommend using them. It's free, it's a great resource, and they're a wonderful bunch of tutors and professionals who work there. So that is what's coming down the pike. Today, by the end of the day, make sure that you have taken your quiz over the play and that you have posted your topic, your research topic, at the Discord. And by 11:59 next Tuesday, it's time to turn in your paper. So you are making your argument, you are doing your literary analysis of your Shakespeare play. It's your choose your own project. I'm actually giving you a lot of creativity with how you write this. Your style is up to you, your approach is up to you. What I'm going to be looking for is, number one, and honestly most primarily, I'm going to be looking for the MLA stuff. Did they know their stuff when it comes to MLA? Are the citations formatted correctly? Are they where they're supposed to be? And do they have their works cited page there, and is it correct? Again, I would say go back to the original handout for the assignment to make sure how many sources there have to be, all the restrictions about that. I will probably, even though I hand it to you physically, I will probably today repost the actual assignment description on Edmodo and maybe in the Discord as well. I'll also be looking for a thesis statement. You should have covered thesis statements in Comp 1, but since this is an official formal paper, somewhere towards the end of that first paragraph, I'm just going to be looking for a sentence that sums up your argument. Think of it as a road sign that tells me where the rest of your essay is going to go. That's what the thesis is. So it can either be the last sentence of the first paragraph or the next to last sentence of the first paragraph, but just somewhere towards the end of that first paragraph, a sentence, and it can be a long sentence, but that sums up the argument you're trying to make. You need to kind of take a stance somehow in your thesis. And then also the things that I usually look for when it comes to line by line writing. I have kind of a language that I use about global versus local issues. And so in a couple of days, I'm going to post some more stuff to Edmodo about the kinds of things I look for on a local level when I grade. And if you had me for Comp 1, I'm going to be talking about bag vaults. If you remember that stuff, then you don't need to watch that video again. But if you don't remember it, you're welcome to watch it. And for people who've not had me before, this is me just giving you a heads up, like, hey, this is stuff I look for. I will be taking off points for this. And I also have some modules to help you with stuff like thesis statements and with stuff like comma placement, if you struggle with that, because those are also things I'll be looking for. But again, don't panic, because if it doesn't go well, you get a redo. That's something that I really emphasize enormously in Comp 1 is revision and drafting and revision, because in real life, outside of academia and outside of school, it's really rare that you only get like one shot at doing something important. Pretty much a job interview is one of the only times in life that you get this one chance and that's it. Any kind of project that you're working on in your life, you're going to go at it in stages. You're going to remake it and add things and change things. And it's unrealistic for us as teachers to say, you have to do this essay one time and it has to be perfect. And I wish that I had time to let you revise your creative project. Unfortunately, just coming at the end of the semester and with everything being crazy with the online stuff, I normally would. And I definitely take that into account with the grading of that project as well. But if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Snapchat, Discord. A lot of you are messaging me on Edmodo, and that works well. RaiderNet. Any of these ways that are good for you, reach out to me if you have any questions at all. I'm happy to help you. I'm looking forward to reading what you write. I know this was a big honking project to just kind of throw at you and be like, go for it. I would not do this in a Comp 1 class. I would only do this with people who have been here a little while and have the sort of academic experience to take on something like this. So I'm proud of you for making it. After we're done with this paper and everything, we're going to have a movie to kind of finish out the dialogue sequence, and then we're going to be moving into narrative. So if you don't have Station 11 ordered yet, you may want to go ahead and work on doing that. So I will leave you alone now. This is a 17-minute video, and that's enough of your time that it's taken, but thank you for watching this far. Again, you know where to find me. Thank you for hanging in there. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all write. And so as long as you got your stuff done for today that I mentioned, for the 22nd, your only homework is upload that paper. And stay tuned. In a couple days, I will post some kind of helpful info about what I look for as a grader. So I'll leave you alone. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. I appreciate you. Bye.